I'm Judie Mancuso, the founder and president of Social Compassion in Legislation, and I am so excited to be joined today with Bella Niven, who is our fellow from the University of San Francisco School of Law, and we thank them so much for giving us Bella Niven to work with us this year. And I'm also joined by Julie Jordan, who is our social media manager, comma, video editor, comma, fine artist, and lots more. And I am so excited to have them with me today to talk about some very important animal issues that are happening right now, this week, last week. And thank you both for joining me today.
Thank you so much, Judy, for that really kind introduction. It's just been such an honor to be at Skill these last few months, and I'm so excited that I can stay on for a bit more time. Um, Judy is such a powerhouse to anybody who's listening, as you already know, as is Skill. So this organization has just done so much for animals, and I know that she's going to keep doing so much for animals in the future.
Thank you.
It's so true, Bella, and I am just so floored every day as I get to learn more and more about skill and its impact. And just watching Judy work and be that voice for the voiceless, it's such an honor to be able to help you amplify that voice and really reach new people. And so if this video has found your eyeballs, even now, just please like, share, comment, subscribe, do the whole package if you love animals, because we are just going to keep putting out content that is going to help them to thrive and to help educate our humanity towards more compassion under this great leadership that Judy has established here. So thank you so much for having me here, Judy.
Thank you. Well, it's so great. And we need, as I call it, the younger generation. And, both Bella and Julie bring fresh perspectives, and it's just so great to be able to talk to people in their 20s and 30s every day and learn from them what's on their mind. What do they care about? How much they know about particular animal issues and, what they're curious about. So I feel like I want to pass on all my knowledge to them so that they can use it immediately and be bigger and better advocates than I ever hoped to be, because they have an edge of being able to absorb my 19 years that I've been doing this experience. So it's very important to have people to pass it along to.
Absolutely. And anybody who's listening who doesn't have a fellowship or is a staff member, you should read this book so that you can also
Yay!
absorb the 19 years. I have all my post-its.
Nice.
You can also
Ooh,
take notes and learn as much as you can from Judy. So recommend that to
thank
everybody.
Mine
you.
is all posted it up too. It's
Yeah.
a page turner, and you just would not believe the amount of work that goes into just squeaking animal rights just one more pixel along, and eventually you've just created this great wake of change, but it's been so hard fought and hard won. And that book is just, it's an epic battle that you've been
And now
waging.
you guys are going through it with me, and
Yeah,
you see,
I'm seeing
Yeah.
it in
and
real time.
right, you see it in real time, and you see people that then pull us backwards, like California Fish and Wildlife this week shooting the mama bear. Her name was Blondie, and the Monrovian neighbors had named her because she'd be swimming in their backyard and they saw her, and she had two cubs. California Fish and Wildlife decided to kill her because she took a swipe at someone. And from what I read, maybe it was a second occurrence. But long story short, they should have relocated the bear and definitely not killed her. And now they have to go through the trouble of rehabilitating the cubs, and the poor cubs lost their mother. I mean, it's just the saddest thing. And so I submitted this LTE to the LA Times, and it's really taken off on Instagram and Facebook. And one of the comments that someone put on the post was that, they couldn't believe Fish and Wildlife did this when the bear is on our flag. And I responded to them, that bear already went extinct. It was 1924 that that bear has not been seen in California. And it went extinct because of hunting and, habitat loss and human expansion. And if we don't pull back and just go, for the trigger on the only species left, the black bear, they're going to go the same way too.
Absolutely. And I also think not only is it hunting and encroachment, but when we take away the mothers of these, future black bears that are going to be in these, wildlife communities, now these animals don't know how to be black bears in the way that they should be. They don't know how to forage for acorns, or they don't have these skills that they would have learned from their mother. She was taken away from them.
What responsibility do our leaders and these different government agencies that are in charge of looking over our wildlife, is there more that we could be doing to promote conservation when it comes to how we deal with our wildlife? Does that need to be reinforced?
Well, again, I think pulling the trigger first should be way last. On the subject, the wolves, the cubs, and the two that got killed, I think it was back in November, because they attacked the cattle ranchers' cattle. I think in that case, there could be a fund to pay the cattle ranchers. They have the electric fencing. I mean, there has to be everything going above and beyond. The wolves have been extinct for over a century. Here they are clawing their way back. And the first thing they do is shoot two of them when we only have, I can't remember the number, maybe it was 40 or something have regained. And so the same with this bear, it's like you don't go for the gun. Get the bear, put it deep into the woods with the cubs. We need that mama bear to do what Bella said, teach her babies, but also to have more baby bears. I mean, killing the mother, my goodness, we need her to keep reproducing. So I, I feel that compassion needs to be much a much bigger role, and that needs to be a part of the conservation. I have friends that coined that there's a con in conservation, and
Wow.
that has to do with the gun and the hunting mentality.
Yeah. And so you're mentioning this kind of emotional appeal, which is compassion, which I think resonates with most people. But then when it comes to these very scientific or database logical people, I think you bring up such a great point too, that, if we kill the mothers or if we kill these species that are back from the brink of extinction, what happens to the rest of the wildlife population? Don't we need these animals to balance our ecosystems?
I mean, it goes all the way down the food chain, and we absolutely do. And I know that groups like Center for Biological Diversity are looking to reintroduce the grizzly bear. And I think, Bella, you might have some information on that.
So yeah, so there are definitely groups within California that are trying to work on grizzly bear reintroduction. As Judy said, these bears became extinct in the 1900s, despite being on the California flag. And so the California Grizzly Alliance is working on reintroducing these bears, as are some indigenous groups, which is really wonderful. And they just introduced a bill a few weeks ago that really looks at how can we procedurally do this? How can we reintroduce these species that we've lost? So, that's amazing work, and it's so wonderful that we're doing that. It is necessary, but it's unfortunate that, this might need to be done in a few decades for black bears if we don't, you know, stop doing what we're doing right now, which is resorting to these lethal methods without really thinking about it. And as Judy said, a cruel and lazy decision. So great work done from them, but hopefully we don't have to do this again in the next few decades.
Well, there was another really big issue in the news. Julie, you asked me about the animals in the hoarding situation.
Isn't it the biggest animal rescue in the history? What, in the county or in the country?
Yeah, we'll have to Google that and take a look. But I
I
mean,
think it was the country.
yeah, at
I'm
first
fairly
they
sure it
were
was the
talking
country.
700 animals, and I don't know, the last count was like 300 cats and
Yeah.
dogs. But this has been going on ever since I've been in the rescue world, which was from the late 80s. And what happens is, people have rescues and they start taking in animals. They don't turn them around right away and get them out. And meanwhile, they keep rescuing. And, yes, they have a bleeding heart for the animals and a ton of compassion, but they don't know when to draw the line and how to say no. And so all of a sudden, the care for the animals goes out the window. Now it becomes there's this fine line between an animal rescue and a hoarder. And once it goes into that hoarding place, it's like a point of no return. And it is the saddest situation that, a lot of these folks feel that they're still doing good by the animals, but yet the animals are suffering. But they feel because they took them off death row that, hey, well, it's better than being dead. Well, is it if they're, malnourished or living on feces and urine? And, I participated in rescuing a bunch of cats from a facility in, I think the year was 2003. It was called Rancho Lots of Cats. And a few years before that, I had actually gone to the facility. I rescued a cat from there. I left a feral cat there, and I start sending monthly donations to them. And it was really set up really well, and it was clean. And then it was like maybe, I want to say 3 years later, that I got a phone call from an animal control officer from San Diego and said, "Hi, we found your name in the roster of this Rancho Lots of Cats, and we're about to shut them down and euthanize all the animals." And I was just shocked. I'm like, "What? What are you saying?" And she said, "Yeah, well, what's your, you know, uh, affiliation with them?" And I said, "Well, I'm a donor. I went there a few years ago. I rescued an animal. I brought a cat there." She said, "Oh, it's in horrible condition." And what had happened is the woman that was running it had a car accident, got amnesia, and had to like be taken care of by her family. So then the owner of the property just let it go to hell in a handbasket. And so I urged this animal control officer if I could come and take a look and see if I could get the animals off out to rescues and save their lives and not just bring them in and euthanize them. And she said, sure. So I met her on the property, and it was nothing like it had looked years before. I mean, literally, your eyes were burning. Here we are standing
Oh,
outside, and it's a field of poop, and the ammonia in the air is so strong that your eyes burn. And there was animals with open wounds, and it was just so, so sad. And the owner showed up, and I said, what is going on here?" And she said, "Well, it's better than them being behind a Pizza Hut, in a dumpster behind a Pizza Hut." And she had lost touch with reality
Mhm.
completely. And that's how these hoarders are. They they're gone. They don't, they're out of touch. And I said, her name was Donna. I said, Donna, I am standing in a field of feces and my eyes are burning from the ammonia. And you're telling me this is better than being it under a dumpster at a Pizza Hut? Like, I wouldn't take either. And so we worked a deal with her that, well, an animal control that I would bring people in. We had like a mash thing set up. We got every cat and tested them and spayed and neutered and vaccine and got them out to various rescues. It was a big thing. It was before, actually, I believe this was the 90s because it was before the internet when email was just catching on. And I remember using email sending everybody, but it was way before any kind of Facebook or any of that stuff.
Wow.
So I have very long
That's
experience with this.
insane.
So does it surprise me? No. And is there a bunch of hoarders out there that could be equally as bad that we don't know about? You bet. Because what
Yeah.
animal control has always told me, hoarders don't go out of business. They just move. And that's why these folks need to be prosecuted. Obviously, they're innocent until proven guilty, but if they're proven guilty, there needs to be consequences and they can't own animals anymore.
Hmm. Oh man, that is
That is such an insane. Oh my gosh.
I can't believe what you've seen and what you've experienced and just all I mean, even just the help that's come to animals through your group and then through your group just becoming aware of these other groups that are also so hardworking. What I've come to learn is that unless people show up and do something, it seems like the default position of humans, or our society at least, is seems to be harm towards animals, neutral or harm instead of help. And so there has to be all of this effort for anything to be done.
You know, it's so bizarre because one of the top industries is the pet industry. That's like $1 trillion industry. And all these people that feel like their animals are their family member. So you have this enormous population of people who love their animals like children, right? And spend all their money on them and will do anything for them. And then there's a population that think it's okay to punch them, to exploit them, to all the unspeakables that we
Yeah.
see. I mean, Joey with all his videos on Skid Row, he sent me one the other day. The man is punching the dog inside the carrier. He sends me another one that, the man is punching it. He's at a tennis court. It's like the abuse, there's so much abuse as well. And one of the big problems has been that, the police, the district attorney's office just don't prosecute enough. And they put these animal cases at the very bottom of the list. There's too many human cases to go and deal with, and the animals are put at the bottom.
Mhm.
And so that's one thing I am working on right now to try to change is to escalate that up. And we have to protect them every way that we can.
Would that be part of the new proposed bill of the animal abuse registry?
Well, the animal abuse registry is a huge step forward because we have no visibility into people that have been convicted for animal crimes. So what's happening is you could hire a pet sitter who's been convicted, or maybe there is, how at a shopping center these days they have like suites for animals, boarding facilities could be hiring these people. They never know,
Hmm.
right? Unless they did some background checks, which who knows if they do or don't. But with an animal abuse registry, which is going to be modeled after Megan's law for sex abuse, convicted sex abusers, any of us could go on and type our address or look somebody up and make sure they have not been convicted of animal abuse before we put our animals' lives in their hands.
Hmm.
And we know that animal abuse is a precursor to human abuse. I mean, the link is very well documented by psychologists, peer-reviewed studies. So the verdict is not out on that. And we need visibility to it. So yes, we did this bill back in 2010. We were ahead of our time. It died in the Senate Appropriations Committee. They said it was going to cost too much for the DOJ in California to get it online. Since then, Tennessee and Florida just passed animal abuse registries.
Hmm.
So we're really thrilled to be putting it forward again and hoping this time it makes it through and to the governor for signature.
That's
Yeah,
really
definitely.
encouraging.
And especially, Skill passed SB 221 last year, which, would expand stalking laws to include animal protection. So, this is definitely where we're heading. And I think that, all roads lead to that, and it would prevent so much suffering and so much harm. So I'm hoping it will be passed.
How much do you think, I know we have a section on our website where we can go sign our support to say, hey, I want this bill to happen. How much of a role do you think that the public can play in helping to get these really important laws passed?
I mean, without the support, the legislators feel like, who am I doing this for? Right. So the support is mandatory to show that people want it. They'll say things at the legislature like, well, is this a solution looking for a problem? Right. Is this an unnecessary law? And so when you can show the stories in the media, case law, anything to prove that the new law is needed. But then you need constituents and organizations that are in support and individuals that are in support. And so everyone that signs up on our website in support goes in to a analysis that is produced before the committee hearing. And what happens is the staff for the assembly member or the senator looks at the analysis and it says, current law, what this law is going to do, why the changes. It has quotes from the sponsors of the bill. And then it says support and opposition. And if there's no support on there, they're going to question who's doing this and why, right? And then you want way more support than you want opposition. It's best if you have no opposition on the list, but there's usually always opposition. And you want your support to be like that long and opposition to be about that long. So
Exactly.
it means the world, those support letters. And we don't share anyone's data. When they come and they fill that out, it is only in our database and it is only used to send to the Capitol
Hmm.
for support or opposition to that particular bill. And I think that's very important because everybody's selling everybody's data everywhere. And I hate it. I personally hate it. And I guard everyone's information very strict. And that we don't share.
Yeah. I also want to say, I mean, I think especially for these animal bills, if this was a human bill, you would have those people that would be impacted, maybe showing up to the Capitol. But, these animals, there would be a line down the street if animals could participate in this system, but they can't. So I think it's, doubly as important, triply as important for, our human supporters to send support letters and just really try and increase the support that's visible to these legislators.
We're going to need them because they are going to come up with a price tag. And it is going to be like, oh my gosh, this is a burden on the DOJ. We have to build this database. We have to maintain the database. So if the public isn't calling for it loud and clear and in big numbers, the bill will die like it did in 2010.
Well,
So we can't have that happen this time.
it's job creation, it's employment opportunities. It's good for us to expand. Clearly, there are millions of people who want protection for animals. Otherwise, you know, we wouldn't be here doing what we're doing. And Bella, like you said, if the animals could show up, they would be in the millions.
They'd be around the Capitol.
Yeah,
That's
it would
right.
be a
They'd be
total
going out the
mob.
front door and all the way around. I love thinking about
Yeah,
that.
the best thing about these letters too is that it's a free way to support. It takes maybe
Mhm.
60 seconds or less. It's so quick, it's so easy, it's free, and you can pre-sign to support all of our bills. If you just want to make sure that the law is moving in favor of the animals in California and hopefully beyond, because Judy, I think your legislation has inspired other legislation around the world, right?
Yes, I mean, one bill's been copied a dozen times, another one's been copied 15 times. This is in the United States, and we've influenced the way China does business
Mhm.
with bringing in cosmetics, personal hygiene products into their country regarding animal testing. So it's very consequential. California, 40 million people, fourth largest economy. What we do really influences others. It has such a big impact, but we have to get it done here first, and it's not easy.
If people want to go on our website and send a support letter, they can just go click on how to help and then send support or opposition letter. And that's just like the easiest way that they can, just click those two buttons and then it'll send. So really easy to find.
All right, well, I guess this
Absolutely.
has been great, you guys. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thanks,
No,
Judy.
thank you.